Hi guys, and it's time for another episode of the Gibson Show, and today's guest is someone I've been looking forward to talk to for so long. I am joined by Siege royalty, Paluh. How you doing?
I'm really good. Thank you very much for the invite.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pleasure to be here.
No, honestly, it's good to have you. Thank you for being here. Of course, it's you taking time out of your day to join me as opposed to the other way around. And I want to kick off by saying congratulations on qualifying for Stage 2 of the Copenhagen Major.
Thank you. It was stage first. We had the Volpz moving in, and we worked a lot, to switch him in, to keep him aware of everything we are doing. And we were, with our routine really heavy, and it really, I'm really glad that it worked out.
I think saying it worked is an understatement. You guys have been really good in Stage 1. Volpz has been a revelation. Whenever I was covering your games, one of the things that I kind of said was he was like the fountain of youth. You know, you guys were playing, you and Nesk were playing back at the levels that you set for yourself a couple of years ago, and I think the whole team has been elevated by the addition of Volpz. And let's be real, it's always nice when you can take one of the strengths of one of your enemy teams as well in W7M and add him to your roster too.
We actually had him without paying any contract fees. He wanted to. He asked for W7M to be moved to the bench, kind of, and to be transferred. So it was we weren't expecting to do any roster changes, but we cannot leave a guy like him. So we added him. He brought a lot of ideas that they had at W7, and I think we right now can do a lot of different things. They used to play really different for us, and he brought us some of that aspect, and he likes to always trying to find game, he's always trying to find some gunfights, always we're trying to make the game move,
Yeah.
Sometimes when we are just playing too slow, he's going through gunfights, and it's really amazing because we didn't have a lot of them. We sometimes play too passive, and it was a thing that a lot of teams liked about us. And sometimes when Volpz do that things, he surprised a lot of the guys.
Yeah, of course. So with that and with qualifying for Copenhagen, obviously Blast have come in and they've changed a lot. They've given Brazil its own standalone region, which is great for Brazil. I think it's something that is so good considering how good the teams in the region are. But not only that, they've changed up the format of the major. So it's in 3 stages. You guys go straight to stage 2, and you're going into the Swiss format, which, again, it's not quite a double elimination bracket. It's not quite another group stage. You kind of go up and down through the tier list depending on how each game goes. Are you excited for the Swiss format, or to you is it just a case of you're going to go there, you're going to play your best, and just try to win every game as it comes?
We're going just to play it and do our best, but I think the Swiss format is really interesting for the viewers. It was something that we asked for a few years, and they finally brought it in. It's much more interesting because a lot of matches going through the tournament, sometimes it doesn't matter a lot, So it will be much more interesting because every day you'll be watching matches that's going through a lot of value, It's going through some classification, and it will keep everyone really interested in the matches,
And then obviously it's in Copenhagen too, the home of Blast, and you've been lucky that you've been to a lot of countries, because of the game that you play. You've been kind of blessed with the parts of the world that you've gotten to see. Is Copenhagen another one that you're going to be happy to check off that list?
Yeah, of course. Especially, I am a big fan of CS. I watch a lot of the teams. I always watch their events, and it's always amazing to see all the structure. It's really amazing to watch, and being there playing will be probably amazing as well.
So you probably remember then watching the gas lift and seeing the players come up onto the stage from below, and some of the stuff Blast do is just so cool. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, and cool news, I've heard that most of the ground floor of the venue's been sold out already as well, so it looks like we're going to have a really good crowd for these games. So fingers crossed, and I know for a fact that even if not a lot of fans travel from Brazil, the ones that do will make a lot of noise.
Yeah, for sure. Like every time, if there are like a couple Brazilians, they are making so much noise, and you know where they are, you know.
And this is the question I asked Cameraman, so I'm going to ask you as well. With you being from Brazil, and with the Invitational happening in Rio, there's been a storyline all through, your careers, for you and Nesk. Are you guys going to go and win an Invitational or a major? How good would it be if the one that you won was in Rio?
Wouldn't be like better, Like we haven't been struggling a lot, especially in this year. Like the Invitational wasn't anything that we wanted. Like we lost, I think, 4 out of 5 matches that we played at SI, and it was really poor performance. But I'm not sure exactly what happened. There are a couple of things that we discussed to each other, but like it's just it hit different. We couldn't be ourselves playing in the server. We were like struggling with communication. We weren't like energizing, so we were like just playing and I don't know, it was so bad, like everything. So, and it's so disappointing because we worked so hard to get there, and to lose at the beginning of it, it's really mess, we even talked after that we weren't making any roster changes, as I said, because we really were like, we just went to the final of the Yonkopin, and we were really good. We were like practicing on the screens, and we were like beating everyone. We were playing so well, but the things really just didn't work around. I don't know if it was like maybe some pressure also, but when we are playing here in Brazil, it's completely different. I think like the energy playing in front of a crowd. I hope we get there, of course. Like, but it will be amazing. Like everyone screaming is just another feeling. I think it will be our time.
I've seen clips of events in Brazil before. I've seen a CSGO event there. I've seen, I think, wasn't there a Valorant event there as well? And just seeing how much the crowd gets behind the Brazilian teams. I'm a European. I'm a proud European. But I don't think anywhere does it like Brazil. I don't think there's anywhere. NA, EU, APAC, nobody gets behind the fans as much as the Brazilians do. And this is where I want to kind of touch on what you said. You spoke about losing the Jönköping Major and then things just not quite going your way at Invitational. Obviously, you've put a lot of your life into Siege, and the same with Nesk, and the same with Lagonis and guys like that. How hard was it to go again after losing in Jönköping? Because I was there, I saw you guys after, and I've... The way I want to put it was you guys looked heartbroken, like genuinely heartbroken. Like, was it difficult to kind of get ready to go again after that?
It's like every loss hurts, but that loss especially hurts a lot because we were working so hard. We just added Laganos to the roster and we were looking so good. And you can when you are playing it and you are just winning everything, every match, you are just thinking it's our time. We are going to beat anyone that we are going to face. We were just like playing so well. We moved to Cafe. We were like winning. It was like 5-3 or something, and we lost like around that wasn't supposed to. We lose. It was like a 5-3 or something like that. And after that, like it was everything going everything a mess. I don't know, and we were actually really tired as well. we before the Yonkoping we were booty camping, and we gave like everything we could. We even like tried the skyscraper that at the time at the screens it was our best map. Even though we lost like to the double 7-0 and to I can't remember exactly, it was a 7-4 to BDS, I think. I'm not sure, but like we were really good at the map in the screens, but we couldn't like figure it out when we were playing official matches. So it was disappointing, but it was okay because after like we were like 2 or 3 months together at the time when we had the Lagones, and we changed so many things. You had no idea. Like Lagones is a completely alien. He like knows everything about everything he studies. He like eats the games completely, you know.
Yeah.
He lives the game, and it was okay. Like it was disappointing, but we knew we could go through a lot more, you know, and we could want something. But the most disappointing one was the Invitational for sure, because we were like creating so much expectation, and it just crashed in the beginning, you know.
Yeah, the Invitational, there was a couple of strange results in Invitational, though. You know, some teams surprised people, other teams didn't quite get going the way you did. But I think I like the way you guys have bounced back. You said you picked up Volpz. Obviously, it wasn't in your plans. You said that before. But sometimes it becomes too good of an offer to turn down. You know, as you said, you couldn't let Volpz go, especially with the way that him and the W7M guys played all through the year. And with that, the stage went really well. You know, the only game you lost was El Clasico to FaZe, and you know they beat you in the finals, they beat you in the league. But again, I kind of got the feeling watching that final that yes, both teams were trying to win, but at the same time, your eyes were further down the road. You know, you're thinking about what's going to happen in Copenhagen. With that, one of the things that cameraman said, and I don't know if you saw this, you said you watched some of the interview. He said for them, no matter how good W7M were, no matter how good Los Plus were, no matter how good NIP were, the one game that always meant the most to them was the game against Team Liquid. Is that feeling mutual? Do you guys have that same thing? You know, once the calendar comes out, you see when you're playing FaZe, or is there another team that you guys prefer playing against?
Like for the last maybe 1 year or 2 years, we have beaten FaZe a lot, like a lot, really.
Yep.
And it was a really like rivalry we had against them. It kind of today it's more of, how can I say, like a good rivalry today, but on some like maybe years ago it was kind of not so well. Like it was a little of, how can I say, sparks between and some trash involved because some things that happened. But today, I don't think like it's always a great match playing against them because of the history that we have against them. And of course, like it's a different feeling playing a match. But like we lost them those 2 matches, but we achieved our goal. It doesn't matter a lot. We know what we had like mess around. So especially at the final, then we weren't like, we talked what we are going to do on our own. We couldn't do it, and we keep it doing the same mistakes on the bank. They were like playing really well individually, and we were losing a lot of gunfights, and we weren't playing together. We were like playing more as a split, you know, more separate. But like those are things that we are working around. We just talk to each other, and you're going to fix like for.
Yeah. I think it's good signs, though, because you look at the 3 teams that qualified for Copenhagen from Brazil so far, and you have FaZe, W7M, and Team Liquid. All 3 of those teams played in major or SI finals last year. That's how strong a region Brazil is. There's a lot of NA fans who'll say, oh, you know, NA are, you know, top 2 region. EU fans will say they're a top 2 region. I think, as it stands, Brazil and EU are so good and so in touch with how the game is supposed to be played. And you were part of that massive Brazilian revolution, you know, about 2 years ago. when obviously you got to the SI final and there was disappointment there. You came through that whole phase of people saying, oh, Brazil's a really aggressive region, but the strategy's not there. They don't think they're going to win anything. Brazil had a 12-month period where you won everything. You know, whether it was, you know, NIP, whether it was phase, Brazil dominated. Do you know why Brazil improved so much in that period of time? Like, was there anything that you noticed happening in the region that really enabled Brazil to become royalty in Siege?
I think like a lot of the teams could find like a way to balance being aggressive to playing together and mixing around with some tacticals. Maybe like always you will find like a lot of players being so aggressive, but they are like most of the time not doing like just stupid shit. They're not just like trying to find gunfights. They're doing it, maybe playing with someone, baiting for someone. They like always trying to find some ways to adapt in the middle of the round, but being aggressive, you know. And it's the most important thing, like always being refraged. So the Brazilian style was kind of surprising most of the teams because they, especially in North America, I think they were playing like a lot of just tactics, you know, step by step, doing some things. And when you like, especially us on the past, we were like, we had a lot of solid strategies. But when you got like, when someone does something and they get a kill, when you do like solid things, you open a gap between your defense, and that gap, it's really hard to like try to find a way to cover it. And I think it was a thing that most of teams were struggling. Right now, I see like all the top teams knows how to kind of handle it. If they like, you don't play just passive. If they do something, you're always going to respond doing another thing, you know, because you can't just stay most of the time because you're just going to lose and they will find space and you'll be like trapped in a corner.
Yeah. So I want to move on now to the next little bit I wanted to speak about. Your career's been incredible today. You've had such a good career, but I'm going to list out a couple of names, right? Canadian, Pengu, Fabian, Paluh, Nesk, right? When people talk about the greatest player to ever play Siege, those are the 5 names. Well, Shaiko. We'll add Shaiko to the list too. Can't forget Shaiko. But, you know, you 5, 6 are the names that come up all the time when people are talking about the best to ever do it. On a personal level, how good does it feel to know that the community, that there's so many people out there who rate you as the greatest player individually to ever play the game?
It's amazing to be like being on the same list of all those amazing players. But like the greatest, I cannot say like I am because I haven't achieved what I wanted and what like most have. Like Bengu and Canadian have won so many trophies, and it's of course my desire and my goal for sure. I'm always trying to do more and more to try to reach it. But of course, like if you can say like one of the best on how can I say statistics, everything. I'm always around. I like. For me, my greatest like, how can I say like my best quality? You know, it's like my positioning and my understanding of the game. Like I'm for real. Like my I don't think it's one of the. It isn't close of one of the best guys in the world, but most of the time I will be like, and won't be like, get out. Will be surprised, you know. I'm always aware of everything that's going to happen on the match. But like, it's hard. I have reached so close to trophies so many times, but weren't able to reach it. It's frustrating, but that's it. Like, just one wins at the end of the time, and we'll keep doing what I'm doing, and I hope we'll get there sometime.
I think we're at the point where everyone in the Siege community, apart from the fans of whatever team you play in a final, want you to win. You know, it's the thing is that it's not just you, it's Nesk is there too. Like, the two of you guys are at the top statistically. I'm sure you saw the graphic that was going on Twitter yesterday where they took career KD, you know, career kills, took away the deaths, and there was a clear top three. Like, it wasn't even close, and it was Shaiko, you, and Nesk up there in the very top right. What's it like having somebody like Nesk on your team and just having someone who's in that same conversation against for the greatest to ever do it? Like, do you two have a really good bond, and how's it been?
Yeah, like, we haven't been playing for like 5 years together, I think. So we actually live almost on the same street. We have the opposite that we go every day to practice and stuff, and we live like I live within more than any other person can I have ever like lived, probably, you know. So I speak with him every day. We have been playing together for so long, and we have the same thing, like, to reach a trophy. He has the same thing, like, it's so frustrating to always be so close to it, but not able to. But he has the same, like, feeling. He is playing the game every day, trying to improve, trying to find other ways to do something different. If it's not working, he'll ask for advice. Especially at the beginning when I joined the team, he helped me a lot. Like, I watched him play a lot. I always asking him for some, I forgot the word, like some tips, you know. And I think he helped me a lot to evolve as a player, you know.
And is there a competition between the two of you as well? So obviously you're on the same team, but when it comes to stats and when it comes to that sort of stuff, do you guys ever have a little back and forth about that, or is it just team first?
Sometimes it does, but it's just like saying, like, I'm going to be the MVP or something like that. Yeah. But it's like a healthy thing just to be talking, you know.
No, look, it's good. Everyone who watches Siege knows it's a team game, and you can have as much fun. Like, you looked back at the Invitational, Doki and Benya had that competition between each other as to who was going to get the most kills. Both of them ended up beating the kill record in the end, but Benya came out on top. And I think it is important to have teammates that A, support you, but B, push you. Because I don't think that either of you two... Well, you know, I think the two of you push each other really well. And the reason you two are regarded so high is because of the way you two have pushed each other over the last 5 years as well. So hopefully we get to see lots and lots more of you guys playing together. But I want to talk about... Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, just one thing, like, you said about, like, just playing together. And one thing that we always do, like, is play ranked together. Like, through those years that we are playing together, like, we play almost every day, like, if it's just like one ranked, but we do play like together so many times, even though it's not on the screens, you know. They're always playing together, and it, like, for sure makes a bond, you know.
So then I want to talk about some of the other events you've been to. Maybe not, you know, major invitations, but you were at Gamers 8 last year, and you got the opportunity to fly to Riyadh, which is, of course, a country that, you know, in Saudi Arabia, not a lot of people get to visit. How much did you enjoy that experience? Because obviously you'll be hoping to maybe get back there again this year, but it was kind of a break from normality. You know, it was you guys, BDS, Wild, you had obviously D Plus there as well. What was it like just playing in a different tier, like a different S tier tournament that was outside of the normal majors or Pro League or Six Invitationals?
It was actually one of the best events, like, in structure and everything that we always went to. For me especially, it was like not a good trip, because I had, like, a nose bleeding so hard. I were, like, with a flu. I was, like, not on a bed, on a good, like, health, so it was really tough for me. I played some matches being really sick. So, but like being there, we were like so good treated, and it was everything so good. Like since the players' lounge, the rooms that we had from the hotel, the arena of the event, it was everything so amazing. We hope we can reach it again. Being invited or maybe through the qualifiers, doesn't matter, we are going to. And this time I hope we'll make it further as well.
I think the funniest thing about that event is when I was there, I would go up to the teams, to get to know them. And I just happened to pick the one player on every team who didn't speak English in any way, shape, or form. It was, I walked up and it was like, that's Nesk. I'm going to go talk to Nesk. And I was like, hello. And he was like, hello. I was like, how are you? He was like, I don't really speak English. I was like, oh no. And it was the same with D+. It was Rin. I walked up to Rin and someone told me that Rin had the least English out of that whole team. But it was a cool to get to meet you guys out there. And again, it's been cool to meet you a few times since then, because as you said, it's a small world in Siege and you cross paths with a lot of the same people quite a bit in your career. Speaking of crossing paths with people though, you've had the opportunity to play practically every single tier 1 team in the world. Which team outside of Brazil do you actually really enjoy playing the most? Like, is there any team or any players in particular that when you're playing them, she's like, this is going to be fun?
I would say probably BDS. Like, even though I think we lost then most of our games that we had, it's always like really great matches because they know how to play a really great Siege, So every time, even though we lost, like most of the times are close games, but it's always fun like to play because they are really good. Like you stud them, but they are always try something new, surprise you, and it's a great like we call it sometimes like a chess game. You have to make the right moves, the right calls. So that's it. I think that it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a fun matchup too. We've seen that BDS game against you guys quite a few times, and that final as well went all the way to 5 maps, and it could have went either way. So I want to talk about playing for Liquid next. So Liquid's obviously one of the biggest esports orgs in the world. No matter what the game, whether it's CS, whether it's this, whether it's Rocket League or other games, Liquid is synonymous with esports. What has it been like playing for them, and does it add any extra pressure playing for an org like that?
I think you really feel the pressure. Like, they always show us that they are really satisfied, and they always try to give us the best they had to give. And we never, like, were left... No. We never, like... had something that, how can I say, like, it's hard. My English isn't on point today. I haven't been spoken for some months. So.
It's better than my English, let's be real. More people understand your English than would understand mine.
Yeah, so, all right, let me try to re-say it. So, every time that we need, like, maybe do a bootcamp, they would try to figure it out, even though, like, one time I was spoken to Victor. It's one of Liquid CEO. He's actually the founder. So he said, like, if you guys need it, I will give like my house to you guys stay there. So they will make everything they can to find a good environment, and everything we have, like the best, and everything to we have the right tools to reach it. Everything, So that most of it, like, we don't feel like the pressure. Of course, we always try to bring a title to them, and I'm sure, like, we are giving it all,
Yeah. It is a cool org, though. You see some of the merch drops they have. The Naruto merch drop came out recently, and that's really cool because, a lot of people in esports have really big following to anime in that world too, so that's going to sell. You know, even though I'm not wearing liquid merch, I'm wearing liquid colors. It was by complete mistake, by the way, but it's cool to see that be done as well. So I want to step away from everything esports now for a minute, though. So there's a lot of pressure. You know, as you said, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You know, you want to achieve things, but life's not just about work. It's not just about competing. It's not just about esports. What do you do in your spare time? So when you're not gaming, when you're not preparing for tournaments, what do you like to do to relax? What are your hobbies? You know, what is Paluh outside of Siege?
I can say I just live the Siege most of it, but like I really enjoy like I'm a nerd, you know, so
Yeah.
I like a lot of animes, as you said, also. So I enjoy watching a lot of them. I like to spend some time with like my girlfriend, and we have 2 dogs, so we spend a lot of time like playing with them around. I also spend a lot of some time like with some friends that I had. I like to play some Counter-Strike. It's another FPS that I always enjoyed. I like to watch another like esports tournaments, especially FPS ones like Valorant, CS. That's like probably the most things that I do right now. Yeah, I think that's it. I also sometimes like to go to the movies, and that's probably most of it. Today, actually one thing that I wanna do that I had like 2 years ago. I lost a lot of weight. I were like doing. I weren't going to the gym, but I was doing some exercise at home, and I fixed my food.
Yeah.
Diet? Yeah, I was like eating healthier, you know.
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of weight, and it made me so well. But after it, I just like messed it around again. It's hard to like keep a good routine, but something that I wanna add. I always like to play like to. I like did like swimming almost like 10 years of my life. That's something that I enjoy a lot. But today I can find like how to get it inside my routine.
Yeah.
But that's maybe something that I would like to in the future. And that's it. Most of it, you know.
Yeah. But that's the thing though, when you get to your 20s and you're balancing life and everything, it's so hard to find the time to do these things, especially when as an esports player you're going to be scrimming in the evenings, which is when a lot of people would be doing, you know, going to the gym or going swimming and doing stuff like that. But we're in a world now where I think a lot of players are looking after themselves really well. You know, you look at the guys that are playing for Koi, you look at G2, you know, you look at a lot of the NA players, they're eating better, sleeping better, and it makes the competition better because you know you've been in the scene a long time. But like me, I'm sure you've gamed having done overnight all-nighters, you've gamed when you've had a full night's sleep, and there's definitely a difference in the two. I'm old and past it, so it doesn't matter if I get 8 hours sleep or not anymore. I'm still washed at the game, but it's all good fun. And you spoke about your girlfriend. Is your girlfriend like really supportive? Like when you met, were you a pro gamer when you guys met, or did you get into it? Like that's probably a fun one to talk about.
Yeah. He actually like Brazilian had a female. It has like a female. I forgot the name, like of circuit, you know. So a few years ago, she tried to play. She even played like a few matches, and he always like had like gaming as a hobby. So she wanted my streams, and he knew like about the other things. And sometimes like she DM'd me something, and my ex-girlfriend actually told me to respond her because I haven't seen like it. I can't remember even like exactly, but it was something like that. So I talked with him. Text me in my WhatsApp. So we started talking, and it was move it through, and like we are 2 years living together. We have been together like for 3 years. So we have 2 dogs. They are beautiful. Let me show you.
Oh, I love dogs. I have. Oh, I love them.
It's
Turn it on.
It's a Dachshund, like.
Oh, they're so cute.
Shiba Inu. You know the Dodge Mammy. I have one, like it's the white one.
So I actually let me show. I'm gonna do the same thing for you. If you bear with me, there. That's one of mine.
I love so much dogs. Like, yeah. I always had like, it's so good to have a pet. You reach home, you're tired, and they are always like being happy to jump to you, and they will cheer you up, even though it's a bad day for you.
Even if your partner's in a bad mood, even if the girlfriend's bad mood, at least the dogs are always happy to see you. Yes. No, I know what it means. And what's it like for you coming home after tournaments when you haven't seen them in a few weeks? Do they get really hyper?
Yes, so much, and so great to be there to hug them, give them a kiss. It's amazing. Like,
yeah. So we're kind of getting near the end of the interview. So there's maybe one or two things that I wanted to talk to you about before we wrap up. And the first is Siege and esports in general is such a huge thing these days, and loads of kids, want to be an esports player. They want to be a pro player. What advice would you give to the next generations of player coming through so that they can move on to achieve those dreams?
One thing that it was hard for me at the beginning, my dad didn't know about the esports environment, anything of it, because he was from a different century, even though he didn't know a lot about technology, he didn't know about how internet grew and how much you can do with it. So at the first, if you have something issues like that, you can tell them to research a little bit, to show them how big it is, how much investments the esports scene is receiving every year. Much and much more organizations are joining. So at the beginning, he wasn't supporting me a lot. He didn't know about much stuff. But as soon as he saw it was something that was going to make me happy, and it's really something that can make you have a future, even though the pro career isn't isn't long, you can say you'll be playing for long years, but you can do so much more, being a streamer, going through maybe a manager of a team, going through, there's so much ramifications you can do, in esports. And it's something that most of the people are just afraid of joining. I think they just need someone to tell them to go and try it out, because for sure there's so much room for growth in this environment.
Definitely. And have you thought about down the road, do you want to get into coaching when you're done playing? Do you want to get into broadcasting, or would you be happy to just keep streaming and keep with that great audience you have there?
I haven't thought a lot about it, but maybe coaching. I like about that part of the game. It's actually hard. It's not easy because much people criticize you. That's our coach, User, and he does a lot. He spends a lot of nights without sleeping sometimes, especially in big events that he has to analyze most of the teams, and he doesn't know it's just on the day that you find out your opponent. So, but I really enjoy that part of the game, and maybe that's the way I will go.
Yeah, but one thing's for sure, I don't think anybody wants you to be out of the scene anytime soon. We love you being a part of it, and you kind of look at the stuff that Blast are doing lately, and you look at the way the viewership was for SI, and a lot of people are really hopeful that Siege is going to be up at that level with CSGO again, one of the biggest esports in the world. So definitely want you to be a part of every bit of that success. Paluh, it's coming about time to wrap up. So is there anything you want to say to any of your fans, any Liquid fans, before we wrap up? You can do that in English or Portuguese. It's completely up to you.
First, I would like to apologize for my English. It's really, as I said, like it's not the best that I speak. So, but thank you very much for cheering for us, for supporting us, for messaging us, and always trying to give some love. It's really amazing that sport, even though we weren't able to respond to everyone every time, we really appreciate it, and it gives us energy to keep moving, to keep working, and giving us the best. Go buy our Twitch skin that just came out of the store. And, well, for the Brazilians, muito obrigado aí todo mundo que acompanha a gente. A gente vai continuar aí dando o máximo para se manter aí no topo. Vamos aí chegar no Major com tudo e é isso. Vamos que vamos.
Well, I'll tell you this. I did buy I was going to buy the skin, but then your social media manager gave me one for free. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. So I said to Whippet, my co-caster, I'm going to buy a jersey instead. You know, if you guys are going to give me something, I'm going to give some love back the other way and keep growing that collection. Paluh, it's been really fun talking to you. I know that you said, you kept saying your English wasn't great. Your English was perfect. It was really fun to talk to you, to get to know you. You know, now that we've spoken before, hopefully we'll get to talk to each other even more at future events, because it's been a blast. Like I say,
You're around the Copenhagen?
I am. I'll be at Copenhagen. I'm not working, but I'll be there, which means I can have maybe a little bit more fun. You know, we'll see. But definitely would love to catch up with you guys again at Copenhagen, and best of luck there. And I'm saying this, I think I speak for everybody when I say this. I want to see you guys playing on a main stage in Rio at SI and just light the world up. Light it up.
For sure. It will be like a massive event, and we hope you'll bring out our best CG.
Mm-hmm. So for everyone watching at home, make sure to follow Paluh on his socials. I think it's Paluh on Twitch and on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything he's doing. If you want to keep up to date with Team Liquid as a whole, make sure to follow them on Twitter as well. Paluh, best of luck with all your preparations for the next couple of weeks. Have a safe flight to Copenhagen, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here, and please talk to you soon.
Thank you.